We're on the record at 3:30. I'll note that there is a quorum present. Our second item on the agenda is public comments, airport announcements, and recognition. Is there anybody that was desiring to be heard from the public? The FBO want to say anything?
Everything's going great.
Okay, fantastic. Item number 3, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the minutes of the Guthrie-Edmond Regional Airport board meeting held August 13th. Do I have it right? Yeah, August 13th, 2024. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Move to approve. There's been a motion made. Is there a second?
I'll actually ask for one correction to be made, is that I was present on that, if you'll strike my name.
Staff presence, right. Are the minutes as corrected acceptable to the movements?
Second.
Acceptable to Mr. Strong. There's been a second. Motion made and second laid upon the table. Is there any further discussion or additions, corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Have received the majority of those appointed to constitute the board. The motion carries. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve July financials. The financials are published in your packet. Are there any questions, comments about the financials as published? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Move to approve as presented.
The vice chair has made a motion to approve as presented the financials of the July financials. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion made, second laid upon the table. Any further discussion? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, having received a majority of those appointed to constitute the board, the motion carries. Item number 5, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the troubleshooting and repair of the airport omnidirectional airport lighting system total in the amount of $18,530. Director.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Board. For those of you that have been on the board a while, this item may seem a tad familiar to you. In April of this year, the airport board approved the troubleshooting and repair of the ODL system in the amount of $6,500. This fix was recommended by the longstanding airfield electricians on site, and a quote had been prepared for staff to move forward with prior to my arrival. The $6,500 from Flash Technologies, was just to come and do an initial review of this system, and it did not include the entire cost to make a go at it to fix the system. After the meeting, I spoke with board members Strong and Guide, who are both familiar with Libra Electric. I've never worked with Libra before and contacted the company to see what they could do to fix the system. Our initial determination was that the system had to be in disrepair because of a lightning strike in one of the electric boxes on one of the panels. It was completely fried. There was more damage to the system as a whole. Libra Electric performed a site visit to our facility and completed an initial assessment at a much lower cost than we had previously put together with Flash Technology. Through this process, we discovered that the city actually carried insurance for the approach lighting system at the airport through OMAG. So we came together with OMAG, the help of our Human Resources Director, Elizabeth Tello, and Libra Electric. Libra is estimating that to fix the system, it will cost $18,530, which is what I'm asking you to approve today. However, OMAG will cover $14,490 of that amount, leaving the airport to cover only roughly $3,500. As you recall, and are probably wore out by me saying, we have roughly $7,000 in what I'm calling leftover funds from our airport check account. Before I do wrap up on this, I do want to say that Libra and not even Flash Technologies or anyone wise could promise me that the system would become fully operational, but this is going to be their best go at fixing the system. And I'm told that if they can't fix the system based off of this estimate of work performed, we're going to have to look at replacing the entire system as it is. I mean, it's an old system. I've talked to numerous other airports that have ODL systems, and they all tell me that they have issues with it. The total system cost is going to be quite substantial. I did ask them what the total system would cost to just put a whole new one in, and it was roughly, I think it was almost 100 grand, it was very close. That would likely have to be something we'd look at putting on our CIP. But we accepted, formerly OAC, we accepted ODA grant funds to install this ODL system. And so pursuant to those acceptance of grant funds, we must fix the system. It's not an optional, we're gonna leave it around. And for now, you know, the ODAA understands that we're working on the funding to get this done. But I'm excited to bring this before you today for your consideration and approval.
How long will it take them to replace the?
They are not going to know until they're on site. They think they have an initial assessment of what they can get to make it work. And then they have backup plans based on that. It could even cost a bit more than they have quoted for us today. I don't have a good, and they don't have a good estimate for me at this time either.
What about the insurance? Is insurance, since they're gonna cover as part of that, would it cover the replacement to do updated one?
I'm not sure. I'm told that this one fell swoop should get the job done, and they included all of the materials that they'll need to have ordered and delivered on site, ready to go. So whenever they show up, they're ready to get it fixed.
I think the question, and I probably for the city manager, is does the insurance cover it? The repair failed, does it cover the replacement cost? I think that was your question.
Yes, like, I mean, if we decided to go the other way, wouldn't insurance still be cut because the system is not?
I think only if you can show that the failure of the system ties to the issue at hand that OMAG's willing to pay for. So I don't know that we're gonna get that lucky. I'll just be honest with you. I think we got lucky with what we got. So we'll have to play by ear and see how this goes.
You have, when does the agreement with, OAC? You put it in, how long do you have that you've got to maintain, repair, replace before you're out of that?
I can't remember, how long. I can get you that information. I can't remember off the top of my head how much longer we have. I discussed with our engineer, Toby Baker, what it would be like to put in a completely new system. Like, let's say that this fails and we need to go forward with something that's $100,000. And we might not want ODLs. I mean, we've gone over a year now without them operational. Can we put in a mouse or something like that? And it's just the approach that the airport has, the amount of land that we have with the spacing of the mouse system. It isn't going to work. And so with that being said, I can't remember the exact amount of life term that, you know, it has every piece of equipment has the usable life that you need to cover it for. I spoke with the ODA about the issue, and they told me that it needs to be fixed. And so that's just what we've been running with.
We'll verify and get back with you.
Yeah, it's amusing to me that they now report that as an old system. Because that system didn't even come, they started OAC, whatever they are today.
ODA.
They started promoting that back in probably 2012, 2015 is when they were starting to put those in around Oklahoma. I questioned it because it didn't provide anything to the instrument procedure. It didn't give you less visibility on an approach, or it didn't give you a lower ceiling. It's just a visual nav aid. And so I really question a replacement of that thing. And I'd probably be more interested in seeing us cut our ties to it and let it go, and get something else like a Malls. I don't doubt you'll get a Malls R, but something like that that's more, you find it more commonly at airports. ODLs, I don't know that they're around very much. I don't know. I don't fly anymore. So. But I'm glad to see that Libra Electric has done us better than the other.
They have,
proposals.
absolutely.
There are no further questions?
I did have a question. What was the cost on a mouse system? So it was $100 grand to change it to replace the ODL.
It was
It goes that
replace the old
direction.
system. I was told that the mouse system is gonna be substantially more
Yes.
expensive. Yes.
That you look for a federal grant, that the FAA involved. But at least that way you start getting some reductions on your approach procedures, get some benefit.
I think there was an issue with the amount of airport property on the end of runway 16 to install a system like that, not to mention justification, but.
Because of the road. Curve trail.
So can I ask one more thing?
Sure.
The cost today on this Libra Electric 960 has already been paid out. Is that true?
No, 6.
We paid Libra Electric $960 to come in and examine the system and get us an estimate on it.
Okay,
And the reason we went forward with that was because Flash was gonna charge us $6,500 to come out and even just perform what Libra did for $960. And I'll tell you, I even looked at, I spoke with Toby about just having a general electrician, why can't a general electrician come out and do this for much cheaper? And he was hesitant, and other airport managers that had odals told me that they are hesitant to bring just electricians that aren't used to working on an airfield out to work on air approach lights. They recommended going with someone that had experience doing that. And so that's why we went forward with Libra Electric.
Any other questions or discussion? There a motion to approve the troubleshooting and repair of the airport omnidirectional lighting system in the amount of $18,530.00.
to approve.
There's been a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, laid upon the table. Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The chair, the ayes have it. Have received the majority of those supported to custom board. Motion carries. Item number 6, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the cooperative service agreement between the city of Guthrie, doing business as the Guthrie-Edmond Regional Airport and United States Department of Agriculture and Wildlife Service for removal of deer, coyotes, and other nuisance wildlife threatening aircraft and human health on the airport property not to exceed $10,000. Correctly.
The annual contract the airport has with USDA has come up for renewal. I've been speaking regularly with USDA Wildlife Services about our issues here at the airport since the deer strike last month. 5 deer and a coyote have been removed from the airport property, one even this morning. USDA tells me that our typical annual agreement is the cheapest agreement that they have at $3,000 annually. I've asked for a new contract, which is on the agenda today, that ramps up their services at the airport. They're going to set up an additional trap on the airport and take, with the plan to take more deer and nuisance wildlife, as well as perform regular nighttime thermal hunting visits out at the airport. USDA informed me they're having difficulties hunting on the airport and prefer trapping because of the residential areas around our facility, as well as the fact that they do not want to shoot across the runway. Unfortunately, there is no, what I was told is that there is no, 50-acre parcel of property where they can perform depredation services regularly without regard to residential areas or the runway. I spoke with City Attorney Billy Wheeler, who can chime in if you'd like, about having airport staff or other staff. I know employees of the FBO would be more than willing to hunt themselves around the airport. But for liability purposes, we're not recommending that proposal at this time. The removal of deer from the USDA will take the liability off of the city and off of city employees. This $10,000 proposal is more appropriate given the size of our airport. I was told it was similar to what Max Westheimer has for their operations. We're not a small facility that needs the USDA around 2 times a month. We're a growing airport. We need a more regular presence by them at our facility. They've recently taken on more employees and staff is closely monitoring USDA's current progress. We're taking account of deer sightings and our runway reports and making sure to follow up with the USDA on happenings around the airport. Just wanted to also mention we're working on a more long-term fencing solution, but for the short term, we need a contract agreement that reflects a serious investment in maintaining wildlife at this facility. That's what's before you today.
Are there any questions? Comments?
Is this something that you have noted in the AFD? airport facilities directory.
Yes, it is.
I think you put that every airport number.
Well, they should, they don't,
I mean,
they absolutely should.
I make a motion to approve.
motion made to approve the cooperative service agreement between the city of Guthrie, Oklahoma, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture's wildlife removal of deer, coyotes, and other nuisance wildlife running aircraft and human health on the airport property. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion made, seconded, laid on the table. You ready for the question?
I do have one more question, if I may, Mr. Chairman. Article 3, mutual responsibilities, item 3. It says there will be no equipment without a procurement price or with a procurement price of 5,000 or more. Purchase, do you have any idea what they're really talking about there? I'm wondering, why would we or anybody be spending $5,000 unless one of the guys at Norman they bought a scuba tank that had an air pressurized gun that he used to shoot the deer with. It's very quiet, very effective, but the bullet was small and it disintegrated at shorter distances. I don't know if they're talking about buying equipment like that to do this work. And if so, does that go above and beyond the $10,000? Do we pay for that?
Well, they can't exceed the $10,000 annually. The only equipment that they're planning on bringing out to the airport that they do not have now is a new trap. And so I think this is just their blanket agreement that they provide to every airport. And they're saying all of their equipment purchased for the program is and will remain property of Wildlife Services. We don't own the current trap that they have out here. That's brought out by them.
Okay, that's all.
And where are they setting traps currently?
The trap is on the other side of the runway, along the south portion. They move it depending on where we're seeing deer sightings. I'll tell you, last summer, I think that also plays into how much deer we were trapping, is that they moved it this summer a little bit farther north. So they're going to look at moving it farther south and then placing this new trap north where the existing location.
You said they took it here this morning, was that trap or?
There's a motion on the table, seconded. Is there any further discussion? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Having received authority to question board, the motion carries. Item number 7, director's report. Director, yeah.
Staff is going to begin hangar inspections, hopefully on Tuesday, October 1st, with the intent of confirming base aircraft counts and ensuring proper aeronautical use of hangars. Diversified Construction has completed the footing, slab, and approach for their hangar at site number 23E. Airport staff has also received an application for hangar site number 23D. That's that last remaining site that's on the airport layout drawing to construct a 12,000 square foot 120 foot by 100 foot hangar. Staff is currently evaluating the proposal and will bring the application to the board and council in October. Guthrie City Council unanimously approved Park Hill to move forward with both land appraisal services on adjacent airport properties, as well as begin design of the new parallel taxiway. Park Hill's meeting regularly with staff to discuss the construction, safety, and phasing plan for the upcoming taxiway reconstruction project. More details on that will be given to the board and others as we work through that. We hosted the Oklahoma Airport Operators Association, OAOA, state general meeting at Meridian Technology Center this past month. That was really exciting. Had the mayor and the vice mayor, airport board chairman. It was a pretty good turnout for directors. I think Walt Strong, you were there too. So it was great to see everybody. Myself, city manager, economic development director, and tourism and community development director had lunch with Congresswoman Bice on Wednesday, August 28th, to discuss upcoming airport capital projects and talk about the airport and just everything going on here as well. Participated in the Greater Oklahoma City Partnership meeting alongside Guthrie Economic Development Director Shonda Rooney where we received an insightful presentation from the Director of OKC Airports, Jeff Mulder, and staff from the Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center. I encourage you all to look into the Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center. I had no idea the amount of things that go on there. I mean, it's really incredible. The Guthrie-Edmond Regional Airport fly-in took place this Saturday, September 7th, from 9 to 2. Visitors saw unique aircraft displays, enjoyed food and drink from vendors, and even took free flights with the EAA Young Eagles. As I mentioned before the meeting, we had 774 people in attendance. That's at least everybody that I can click. I'm sure there was possibly some more as well. Next year, if we're able to put that on with the upcoming taxiway project, we can include more kids activities that Shalon had. With this being my first year, I wanted to kind of scale it down a little bit to make sure I could get the bread and butter right. But I appreciate the airport board support and members of city council from both cities that showed up for the event. On August 21st, the Coast Guard's HC-144 Ocean Sentry landed at the airport. The Coast Guard search and rescue staff met with the Edmond couple they had saved in the Gulf of Mexico. We're grateful that the couple is safe and back home, and the aircraft generated a lot of interest while it was out on the ramp. We also hosted a DC-3. While I just happened to be absent from the airport, I missed the cool things. It landed on the ramp, and we have an Apache coming in for training with UCO's National Guard this coming Friday morning. And so I'll make sure to be here for that. And we have a lot of exciting different aircraft coming into GOK. So it's great to see. Also, I'll be requesting t-shirts, t-shirt sizes from all of you. If you look at, I'm going to point them out, Grant's shirt, looking at getting a shirt just like that for all of the board. So if you'll get with me after this meeting, make sure I get your size. And lastly, our next airport board meeting is scheduled to take place on October 8th. And that is all I have. Thank you.
I have a
Good.
question. You said the DC-3 landed on the ramp.
Landed on the runway.
Oh, that's better, thank you. The other thing, this bullet number 3 on the first part of the page, airport staff received an application. Somebody wants to construct 12,000 square foot hangar, 120 by 100. When they do that, if and when that gets approved, is there somebody that does an inspection of that construction process?
Yeah,
So that we know that what they've built is substantial and it was done properly.
and I can let our city manager speak on this more because a lot of it happens within the city Guthrie planning office.
Okay.
They'll come out and inspect it. And I work with Toby Baker at Park Hill to make sure just on the aeronautical side, your TOFAs and your the building restriction lines and all that good stuff isn't a problem. But Guthrie City Planning Office handles the building inspections.
Vice Chairman, request comments, item number 8. Mr. Vice Chairman, did you have any?
I would say that it was a highly successful Saturday. Good job. I'm pleased to see there's some action being taken on 21. And the hangar for the Latham hangar seems to be going up. Like, it's a good look at construction site too. I think they're doing a good job. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Member Strong?
The fly-in and the community day was absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Caden, for putting your effort into that, and the city staff and Mr. Chairman, thank you for doing what you did there. And I did have another comment that I was curious about. Oh, I know what it was. When I came out here, Caden, you may recall that I had a question for you pretty quick after we started talking. I wanted to know what happened to our resident Learjet. Can you, is it appropriate to ask more questions about that now, about what's going on there?
We have sent the action that the board took at the last meeting also went for Guthrie City Council and unanimously agreed to fine Spirit Wing in default of their lease. We sent certified mail once again to Mr. Burgess at the lessee, Spirit Wing Aviation, and we at least attempted to hand deliver a letter At this time, staff has not received any correspondence from.
How about a simple answer? It
What was
it was cut up and taken off.
Yeah. I like that answer. We'll go with that.
Okay, so he got the message and he's taking action.
I mean, we can discuss that on another agenda item, but I think that's probably as far as we can go with a question like that.
Yeah, if you want to put it on the agenda, that would be appropriate.
I think that's a better one.
Okay,
We do have intent for next month's regular agenda with the timeline that the airport board and the council granted to the tenant. So you will have a follow-up next month.
thank you.
Do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Councilman Williams,
All right, thank
member Ryan two. Member Ryan one.
I'm disappointed I missed the fly-in. I wanted to talk, just really briefly about mowing the infield. I talked to Caden about this, but I just want all the board to be aware of this. One of the factors in our recent deer strike was the deer being able to bed down in that tall grass in the infield between the taxiway and the runway. I know that we let that grow tall so that we can swap and bale it, but I think it might be a better plan in the future to actually mow that. Keep that area mowed rather than trying to let it grow tall for the purpose of baling. That'll put additional strain and burden on management of the airport. They'll have to cut that rather than subcontract that out to a hay baler that presumably does that for free. Is that correct, Caden? Is that?
The airport receives revenue from the hay.
Okay, right. So actually an economic loss in addition to an additional burden. But it's something that I think that we ought to consider for the purposes of safety. I think it would have been a different outcome if the deer had been visible rather than bedded down in that infield.
It's also well, and if they're not there, right? I mean, like, if you provide cover,
Yeah, you're providing an environment for them to live in.
right?
So I think we can take that environment away and we kind of help to eliminate the problem we have,
It'll eliminate rodents, you'll have less coyotes, you'll have less hawks coming after those rodents.
all the stuff. Agreed.
I think that is one of the things that you find around airports is the geological features of the airport. So McKinney, of course, has a lot of water around it, so there's a lot of water fowl that have a tendency to be problematic around there. I think you're correct. If you eliminate rodents, the hawks, you probably see fewer of the raptors in the area. Thank you. I would like to, for my portion, I asked at the last minute that the Guthrie Fire Department and Guthrie Police Department participate in the airport flying day as a result of the fact that we were supposed to have a touch the truck event that didn't happen this year. And so I thought at the last minute, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could get the police department and fire department to participate and sort of do the touch the truck at the fly-in. And both departments were enormously gracious in sending personnel and equipment out. And I think for a lot of the younger participants in the fly-in, those experiences were just as exciting to them as seeing the airplanes. I think it also speaks volumes to the cooperation that the city of Guthrie has among departments. I have seen cities that do not have good cooperation among departments, and I think that we function really, really well in that arena in terms of all pulling together. And so I was enormously grateful to the fire department and the police department for sending personnel and equipment out for the event and supporting the airport. We also were able to take 3 police officers on discovery flights, so keeping that interest in aviation up. The EAA did a record number of Young Eagles flights that day, and I want to thank the EAA for their willingness to accommodate additional people. They stopped enrollment, as I understand it, at 95. And I know that there were other people that showed up, and they still went ahead and took those flights for those people. And that's just an enormously big impact for young people to understand the benefit of aviation. So, thrill of aviation. So I thought that was really great. I want to thank all of the board members that showed up and support. And also, I think every single member of the Guthrie City Council showed up in support. And I was enormously grateful for to see the levels. City manager.
No Team Guthrie.
So, and that's all I have. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn? There's been a motion made, is there a second? There's been a motion made and seconded, there is a debate on a motion to adjourn, all those in favor, aye. Aye. Nay, and the committee chair, the ayes have it, and the seat goes. 22